How to find great candidates on LinkedIn.com. To start off with, let's do an advanced people search with this link here. Just click on this link. Now that you're here, you can search for candidates by keyword, by first name, last name, by location, by country, postal code, and you can actually designate within a certain amount of miles, by title, current or past, and company and school. You can also search by additional parameters under here, by industry. You'll see there's a ton of different industries here that you can choose from a group that you would join, and we're going to talk a little bit more detail in an additional video talking about groups. And you can search by relationship right over here. You can search by relationship through all LinkedIn members, first connections, second connections, group members, or third plus everyone else. What this means is that the people that you want to connect with, if they have a similar connection with another individual that you're already accepted and connected with, then it makes it easier for you to be able to connect with them. Now you'll see there's a number of other functions and options that you can search by. Anything that you see with the orange in button means that this is for premium account holders. It's not for basic account holders. If you're a basic plan subscriber, then you're restricted to these areas, but there's a lot that you can do with just the free tools available with LinkedIn. Okay, now let's do an advanced search. And I'm going to do a search by company name. So let's search by IBM. Say there's a candidate at IBM that you want to see if you could chase down with relevant skills. So type in IBM and search. Now, let's say we wanted to filter this out. We wanted to say, look for a project manager at IBM with PMP certification. So we'll put in a couple keywords there. Then let's dial this in. Let's put in a zip code in Dearborn, Michigan. Now I'm going to take my radius here and increase it to 100 miles, and let's search. So what we're doing is that we're doing an advanced search on IBM, and then we're sorting out and filtering out through here over on the left-hand side. Now you'll see that I have a number of results here. Now I want to show you how this works. Because this account is new, that I've set up this profile, I don't have any connections on here. When I don't have any connections, that means that there's no other connections there to relate. So when you see this thing down here as far as first connections and second connections and group members, well, I'm not connected to anybody. So you'll see here that Paul Harris has made his profile publicly available. That's why you see his name. But many of these other links here, because this profile that I've set up does not have connections, they're only showing the title, so you're not able to see the person's name, even if you click on it. So we click on this profile, it's going to list it as private. Now, there's a couple of ways around this before you have your connections, but the first thing is to understand the more people you connect with, the more people that you'll have in the network. So I'm going to show you something as far as another profile that is set up that has a lot of connections, and I'm going to show you the same keyword search. Okay, now I've logged into another profile, another account, and this account has about 800 connections on it. The exact same keywords, project manager, PMP, for IBM company, and within the radius, actually I'll increase that to 100, and the zip code 48126. And what you're going to see is that since this profile has many more connections, the network is larger. So the chances of those keywords showing up with people that have a connection of 1, 2, or 3 or groups that they share is greater. So you'll see all the people here that you'll see their names and more information about them. So as you can see, the more connections you have, the greater the network and the better information you're going to have inside LinkedIn. So the more connections, the more quality out of LinkedIn. So now I've logged back into the Advantage LinkedIn account without any connections. So you can see here again, here's the result page. Most of them do not have the names of the individuals. So if you don't have any connections, how do you get around this? There is a way, and it's called actually searching outside the network, outside of LinkedIn. And there's a little tool here, a little tip I'd like to show you. If you use Google or Bing, you can use a string that allows, it's called X-ray searching. It allows you to actually search LinkedIn profiles outside of LinkedIn itself. You just use Google. As long as the individuals with the profiles set their profiles to public, you will be able to see it in the results page in Google. Now, these characters might seem like a little bit of gobbledygook to some of you, but it is information that you can put into a search engine which will allow you to target these LinkedIn searches. So we will make this information available on the intranet site for you to copy and paste. There's a couple of operators here that you need to put in, and then you can designate the area and the company, and then additional keywords here. So what I want to show you is what I've done is there is a Google search for the same thing that I set up over here on inside LinkedIn, and you'll see right down here, this individual right here, John Zimmerly. Well, this is the same person that we searched inside LinkedIn. He's right here. But if you search inside LinkedIn, it comes in private. If you search outside, because we don't have the connections again, it's coming up private. But if you search outside of it, you click on his link here. There he is. And you have his name. So you have more of his information. So this is a way to be able to get around the limitations of not having connections, and especially early on in the process of using LinkedIn, this is going to be a great tool. I would always use it moving forward, but especially working around the lack of connections. This is a great way to find talent. Now that you've landed on this profile for this candidate from IBM, John Zimmerly, now you want to connect with him. Now, this is the profile that we accessed through the Google Boolean search. This was not found inside. This is what we found inside. So if you don't have the name of the individual, it's going to be very difficult to connect with them. And for the fact that if this is a new profile, you don't have any of the shared connections or groups, then you're not even going to be able to have access to a connect button, to where if you find it over here, you'll see that there is a connect link. So there's the difference, is if you find somebody that there's not a mutual connection, then you will not have a connect link and not have an ability to connect with this person. The only way that you could connect with them, if you did know their name and you knew their email address, you could send them your link. So that's a strategy right there, is if you could share this link and ask them to connect with you. But let's suppose, for argument's sake, that either you found this person through the Google Boolean search and it brought you into the profile and you're able to see their name and the connect, or you have a shared connection, you will be able to click this connect button. Now that you are here, you can invite John to connect with you on LinkedIn. You can choose that you're a colleague, a classmate, you've done business together. I'll show you here a couple of these. There'll be a drop down. You're a friend, other, or I don't know John. If you say you don't know John, then it's not going to give you the option to connect. But any of these others will allow you to send out that invitation. Now, first of all, you have limits on how many invitations you can send out where the other party doesn't agree to accept that invitation. LinkedIn will require you to enter an email address if you go over that limit of connections without acceptance of invitations. So just be careful about how much you use this. Then if you abuse it, LinkedIn can lock your account to where you have to use an email. Now under here, under a personal note, try to make a customized message when you're connecting and sending out invitations to individuals to connect with. Don't use the boilerplate message that LinkedIn uses. Try to put in something that is compelling and a reason why you want to connect. But remember, you're not going to be able to connect with these potential candidates if you don't share a similar connection or a group. So be mindful of the limitations, especially when you're first starting out with LinkedIn. So the best way to do this starting out is send out an email invitation to all the people that you have email addresses on that you feel would connect with you and accept an invitation. Send out your profile link so you can start to build up that network. Next, if you have a person in mind and a profile and you know somebody that knows them, contact that person and ask them for a recommendation to be able to connect with them. And finally, use this Boolean search tool in Google or Bing. It really is pretty powerful. So it allows you to be able to tap in to find the individuals and have access to be able to connect with them where you would not be able to connect with them inside LinkedIn. It's called an out-of-network search for LinkedIn. And even before you connect with a potential candidate on LinkedIn, make sure you review their profile so you can respond to their needs. So before reaching out to a candidate, always review their LinkedIn profile. Now you may ask why. Well, so you can use language that indicates that you can help them solve their problem. For instance, if they state that they are open to job opportunities, then state that you have an opportunity in your invitation to connect. If they are interested in consulting, explain how you can help. If they do not indicate that they are open to either, ask them if they know anyone who may be interested in the opportunity you are presenting. So when you are sending out an invitation to connect, make sure you personalize your outreach and don't be too formal. You want the person to know you're a person, that this isn't spam. At the same time, maintain a level of professionalism and be friendly. Basically, you should spend a few seconds personalizing the outreach so they, in return, might spend a few minutes thinking about the opportunity and contacting you. This is especially important for passive candidates. Now, here's some ideas on when you connect with a person on LinkedIn, how to set up your conversation. We just have a little tip here. Opening statement. Clearly present who you are and how you found them and get their attention by referring to something in their profiles, especially a mutual connection. And you can see here is an example that we've put in that you can read. Next would be share company information. So share quick company information, nothing too long, so your candidates will know that the company is a reputable one if they don't already. Here's a little example. And a closing statement. So cut to the chase. Why are they being contacted? And here's a couple of examples here. So just a simple overview of things to consider when connecting with someone on LinkedIn. And here's a few additional tips for LinkedIn. So whenever you talk with a good candidate, make sure you immediately connect with them on LinkedIn. Good people tend to be connected to good people, so this means more leads for you for future open positions. And connections are key. So be sure to tell everyone you are connected with that you are always looking for individuals with specific skills and ask them to recommend candidates. You can do this using the status update fields. And also mention the name of your connection when reaching out to a candidate to increase your callback rate. Now here's another incredibly effective tip for connecting with individuals on LinkedIn, and that is to join groups, to connect with professionals with the needed qualifications. Now if you've never joined groups before, here's a real quick overview. So go to the top of the home page here and go to groups. The groups you see here may be ones you may want to join. You also may want to take a look at the keywords of the jobs that you're actively working on and look for groups around those keywords. And you can search right in here for keywords. Say, for instance, I wanted to search for Java groups. You click on search and you'll see Java developers, IT recruiters, Java EE professionals, and you can take a look to see how many people are in these groups. This one in particular has 120,000 members. So these are people that are actively engaged. These are Java developers. You are potential candidates that are actively engaged in these groups. When you join these groups, then you share a common group with those candidates, allowing you to send out invitations and connect with them more effectively. And that is how you find great candidates on LinkedIn.